Good October, everybody, and welcome to the October, which might be terrifying, but probably not. Welcome to the October Six Questions with Dan and Michelle. Welcome to October, Michelle.
Hello, welcome to October, Dan.
Isn't it cool to have gotten to October?
It flew by, as they
It
always do.
like everything before September, everything before October flew
Yeah,
by,
like
and thus here we
January
are.
goes really slow, and then February goes really slow, and then March, we're like still in March, and then it all rolls into a big snowball after April.
Yeah, I can see that. You know what's going to fly by this next half hour? Because we are with one of our really interesting clients that we've been wanting to put on the show for a while, but I won't get into all that. But welcome and thank you for being with us, Dave Carey.
Woo! Woo, woo,
Hello.
woo.
Dave is the president and CEO of Cyber Synergies. And Cyber Synergies is a cyber security consulting firm. We have written so much about cybersecurity in the last few years. I think probably the topic we've written about the most. And we've learned a lot about it from you. So thanks for being with us today to talk about that and some other things.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Another interesting I wanted to mention before we start the questions. Dave is based in Byron Center, Michigan, which for many, many years was practically the headquarters of this company.
Mhm.
So it's good to have you here for that reason too. But we've got some stuff to get into. So let's get to it, and we're going to go right now with the questions. Dave, some years back, you made a decision that you not only wanted to be a cybersecurity consultant, but that you wanted to go off on your own and have your own firm to do it. Now, as somebody who also made that decision in a similar realm many years ago, I was why did you decide you wanted to take that risk and do that?
Well, I was working for an organization at the time that wasn't doing security very well. Um, and I just started thinking that, I need to go out and start my own company. There's too many businesses out there that are getting ransoms that don't know what they should be doing, don't know how to go about it, or they're afraid because, you know, it's perceived to be expensive. And so I just felt that, you can have good cybersecurity without necessarily breaking the bank. And I think the important thing is just to start. It's a journey. There's not a final destination. Just start. Put some things in place. Otherwise, you're going to be the next victim because it's not a matter of if, but when. And I have websites that I go to where I see, companies, tons of companies get listed every month, month after month, different places, whether it's law firms, um, could be a church, could be a school, could be a doctor's office. I mean, it doesn't even matter what kind of business you are. And these are small to medium sized businesses. And a lot of small businesses tend to think that, well, they're not going to go after me because I'm too small, and that's totally not the case. So
In
I'm just
fact,
trying to get the
the
word
small
out.
targets are sometimes the way to get to the big guys.
Mhm.
Yes, that's very true. And in some cases, it might not be that your cybersecurity is not correct, but the business that you're doing business with doesn't have good cybersecurity. And so they're sending or purport to send you emails that looks like it came from them, but it's actually a hacker in their environment trying to get you to click on something that you shouldn't be clicking on. So it's important to have an assessment done to understand what your vulnerabilities are, and then you can decide, more educated decision, I like to say, on do you want to put money towards, fixing this one thing or not? But at least then you know what your risks are.
Dave, if you had to explain what your business does to a 10-year-old, how would you describe it?
Uh, Boy, that's a good question. We help businesses stay safe so that they can retain their profits, keep your mom and dad hired in a position because they don't have to, start laying people off or maybe even close the business, which would put your parents out of a job because they can't afford to pay that ransom.
Wow, that's huge. I love how you went to stay safe instead of kind of getting into this ominous, there are hackers out there. That's so you, that's so your heart of like how you just even described to Dan why you started it. It's for the people, it's staying safe. So I love that.
I actually wonder, because I was thinking about this question, I wonder if some of the 10-year-olds might intuitively get the computer stuff better than some of their parents because they've grown up with it.
Maybe.
That's very true, and that touches on another aspect of cybersecurity is that I feel that we're not teaching it in schools. If you go to college, you're not even required to necessarily take a cybersecurity class, which I think in today's day and age is so wrong because what we end up doing is sending people out to get jobs that still don't understand cybersecurity, and so they just become the next victim.
Yeah, you're right. That is rare. I know one of our previous guests on here actually leads the cybersecurity curriculum at Colorado State University. And he was telling us about how, like, just getting people to even understand what it is, let alone have the curriculum, it's an uphill. But maybe not as much so as 2 years ago when we did that interview. But I think you're right. They're not teaching it because they don't even understand that they should.
Yeah.
Until
So
they
I think what we should be doing is to have like a conference that kids from middle school, high school could go to, kind of like a field trip type thing, where it's not them listening to a bunch of talks and being theoretically bored, maybe, but hands-on demos where we show them what can happen and we talk about, hey, that cell phone that you have that you're taking pictures with, what can happen to that picture, and then you start talking about deep fakes and you start talking about other maliciousness that can occur that you know would be detrimental to a child or student.
Going in a totally different direction now, Dave. What is your favorite place you've ever traveled to?
I guess I would have to say Mexico.
Okay.
Um, just the all-inclusiveness of just, hanging out and enjoying the weather. I know the first time that my wife and I went there, I was like, oh, I'm gonna do all this stuff. I don't want to just sit around and, soak up the sun because that just wasn't me. And once I got there, that's all I did. It was so relaxing. Like I didn't go anywhere.
What part of Mexico were you in?
It was the Cancun area,
Okay.
Playa del Carmen, I think it was.
Oh, I've heard it's beautiful. When you are not working, where is your happy place?
So actually, two things I would say. I used to be pretty interested in sailing. I had a friend who had a boat, and so we would go out on Lake Michigan, and we'd take, many trips out there. So I really enjoyed that. But other than that, I really enjoy stock trading.
Really?
Okay.
Yep.
Are you like day trading type stuff?
It's more like swing trading.
Okay.
So a day trader is the type that he wants to buy something and then sell it all in the same day most of the time. Whereas swing trading, you might be in something for days or even weeks, depending.
Wow.
Okay.
I can't
So
I can't
no,
even dip into
no
that.
matter what it is, well, not the sailing, but like anything else that you can't get Dave away from the computer because you're doing one or the other. But
Yeah.
not
Well,
true on a sailboat.
yeah. No, so I do have seven grandkids that I love to hang out with them when I can. So that takes up a pretty good portion of my time too.
That's awesome. Dave, can you think of maybe a twist in your career or in your life that was surprising at the time, but turned out to be a blessing?
Yeah, I would have to say. So first of all, I worked for a couple larger organizations in my past life for Coca-Cola and Frito-Lay, and just through, yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
I used to
I
say
don't
I
have
would
any Fritos, or I put them on the screen too.
I used to say I would bleed, cherry Coke if somebody ever cut me. But while I enjoyed those jobs for the most part, I got severed from them due to things going on. Like a lot of people, when the stock in a company isn't doing well, one of the first things they do is go and cut labor. And so you get caught up in those things. But had that not happened, I wouldn't have started in a computer career at all. And so I've been in computers now for over 25 years. I've really enjoyed it. I love the fact that it's a challenge every day. You're constantly learning. Um, I used to worry about, someday when I get older that, I didn't want my brain to go to mush, so to speak, or whatever. And I really feel like in computers, you're exercising that muscle constantly. And there's just so much that you can learn. And you really have to have that inquisitiveness and that tenacity to be able to stick with things and figure out. It's a little bit like putting a puzzle together, which I also enjoy, and trying to figure out how pieces fit and what's the best way that they go together, the correct way. Sometimes there can be maybe several answers to an issue, but it's what's the right way and how do I solve this so that it doesn't happen again? And trying to be more proactive that way than reactive.
Yeah, that's I a lot of people have answers like that, to that sort of question where, maybe the best move you ever made was one that you wouldn't have sought after or chosen, but you made the most of it. Okay, okay, I got severed, I got cut, but you found the right thing, and that speaks to your resilience.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I've always said that I really feel like God has taken care of me along the way, because I have changed from, one position to another for various reasons, and always, I'm landing on my feet. And I think it speaks to that, but it just speaks to, I think, the character of who I am, and that I don't quit. I know there's something better around the corner.
For sure.
Dave, what do you love most about your wife, Donna?
She's very giving, and she does a lot for me. I probably don't thank her enough. I'm telling myself, but I'm old school in the sense that what I learned from my parents was mom always, stayed home, cooked dinner, etc. Dad worked, right? Well, my wife works and cooks dinner, and takes care of the house, and so she's very giving of that way, and I try to reciprocate that as much as I can. But she's to the point now where she'd like to retire, and so I'm working to make that happen for her.
She sounds great.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, seven grandchildren. I mean, that's a legacy too. So it's both of yours.
Yeah, yeah. I love the kids. Most of them are in sports of some kind, and I just love going to watch them play.
Oh, yeah.
So. Yeah,
Are,
it's a lot of
do they
fun.
all live pretty close to you?
Yeah, fairly close. The furthest is probably about 40 minutes away.
Oh,
Okay.
not bad.
So yeah, not too bad.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Dave, thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah.
The time we've been working together, it's nice to get to know you a little better in this way as well. So thanks for spending this time with us today.
Yeah, you bet. I appreciate you as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Michelle, thanks as always for
Man, right
co-hosting.
back at you.
Thanks everyone for watching. We will see you again next time for another 6 questions with Dan and Michelle.
Bye.